You never know who you're going to get. You never know. Starter Stream. I love Starter Stream because you never know what you're going to get. A whole list of hosts we have now at Player Profiler. A lot of talent. Tons of talent. Deep bench at Player Profiler. And they put out the list. Who wants to do the Starter Sit Show on TikTok? Who wants to do the Starter Sit Show on Instagram? Who wants to do the Starter Sit Show? Starter Shit. That's a different show. Who wants to do a different show? And then I said, week 4, Starter Stream on YouTube. I'm doing it. I'm doing the YouTube Starter Stream. I'm the guy. So you never know. That's why you tune in. You tune in every week because you never know. Is it going to be Maddie? Is it going to be Billy? Is it going to be Theo? Is it going to be Jason? Is it going to be Jack? Is it going to be Seth? Could be the Podfather. This week it's the Podfather. Let's go! Roshan Johnson! His role's going to incrementally increase, according to Ian Rappaport or whoever the hell, Jeremy Fowler. Of course it's going to be Roshan. By week 5, I said Roshan will be the starter. So this is tracking perfectly. That week 4, they announced that his role will continue to increase. So it's been an even split lately. Recent weeks, even split between Roshan and Khalil Herbert. And now this week, you'll see that the split now tilts toward Roshan, and then they're just going to come out and outright announce him the starter week 5, which has been my prediction from the beginning, all summer. Week 5. Set your calendar, week 5, Khalil Herbert fans. Set your calendar, okay? And I know that there are questions. There are questions. I have answers. Connor Porter, Elijah Moore, or Sky Moore. Okay, so here's the deal. Sky Moore is a starter still. I don't know if you guys know this. Sky Moore is getting most of the snaps, running most of the routes. He's a key member of that offense. Kadarius Toney's terrible, and he's getting phased out. He's getting phased out faster than Khalil Herbert. So the answer is clearly Sky Moore. Why is anyone worried about Sky Moore? He's not getting the touchdowns? I think he has more targets this year than Drake London. Drake London just got bailed out again this morning with a touchdown. Big deal. Like, there's plenty of touchdowns to go around in the Kansas City offense. So, yes, it's Sky Moore. Dorian Thompson-Robinson's a fun player. And I hope the hell you got him in as many leagues as possible in Superflex and 2QB because I told you to do that. Malik Cunningham, same thing. If you have a mobile quarterback available who was drafted, you go ahead and you put him on your roster in Superflex and 2QB leagues. You draft him in round 5. You think the wide receivers or running backs you're getting in round 5 are going to be better than just a week or two of Dorian Thompson-Robinson in the event of like a high ankle sprain to the quarterback or a shoulder sprain? I can't believe Derek Carr is playing. So, by the way, Derek Carr, there's no reason to drop Jameis Winston. I've been calling him Jameis Winston lately. I don't know why, but I'm going to keep calling him Jameis Winston. So, Jameis Winston is now more likely to get in than normal because Carr's playing hurt. It's another hit to the shoulder. Carr's out. Winston's in. I want to see Winston with Olave. Winston with Olave and Rashid Shaheed, I think, is fun. And Juwan Johnson down the seam. Juwan Johnson's got speed. You got a lot of players with speed that can get down the field in New Orleans. I love it. I love those receivers with Winston specifically. So I know that Carr's playing, but we'll see what happens. Do not drop Winston in Superflex and 2QB leagues. I said go get him. Hold him. Don't just drop him. And Malik Cunningham, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Here we go. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Here we go. Aiden O'Connell. Right, we're going to see what happens with Aiden O'Connell this week. This is very exciting for rookie quarterbacks. What a great week for rookie quarterbacks. We're going to see which rookie quarterbacks outproduce Bryce Young this year. We know there's one. We know C.J. Stroud. We're pretty sure for fantasy football, if he can stay healthy, Anthony Richardson. But then the question is going to be who else? Who else can outscore Bryce Young? Because apparently Carolina's in the market for a wide receiver. Now, week 4, you You didn't know you had the worst receivers in the league before this? Isn't this obvious? You thought Jonathan Mingo was the answer? Ridiculous. No, Jonathan Mingo's hurt, but before he got hurt, it didn't matter. Okay? He can't separate. He's no good. Right? They should just turn the offense over, the wide receiver room over to Chark and Terrace Marshall, YOLO. Let him go make plays. I know they were giving a lot of reps. I get it, everybody. They were giving lots of reps with the ones to Mingo. They were doing that because they just drafted him and they wanted to validate their own draft pick. And then he couldn't separate. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, well, look at that. Looks like Terrace Marshall's getting more targets. That's weird. Yeah, because he's better. And even if he's not better, he at least has more experience in the league. He's been around a few years. He's learned some aspects of he's developed some instinct, skill set that is going to take a while for Mingo, but it's not going to happen for Mingo. It's never going to happen for Mingo. Okay? It's not going to happen for Bryce Young. If you have Bryce Young, don't start him. Okay? Jeez. Miles Sanders, groin injury, he's playing. He's playing with a groin injury. Don't drop Chuba Hubbard. Hold on to him. We'll see what happens with this groin injury. This means more reps for Chuba guaranteed. And also could be a setback with the groin this week for Miles Sanders. We could get a setback with Derek Carr. Sky Moore is the easy choice because now with Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you have a new quarterback coming in. We don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to check down to the tight ends? I don't know what he's going to do. We'll see what happens. I think David Njoku's playing. David Njoku picked up a burn. He was a burn victim. I can't believe that David Njoku was a burn victim at home. I think he was cooking or something. My guess is it was a cooking incident. This is what typically, if you get burned at home, is typically on the stove. And you're dealing with hot oil. I've dealt with hot oil before on the stove, and it can be dangerous. But David Njoku expected to play. It's against the Ravens. So, no, you're not playing Elijah Moore with a brand-new quarterback who was a day 3 pick against the Ravens. That's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. Trust the process with Sky Moore. He's running the routes. He's getting the targets. Trust the process. Gainwell over Justice Hill and Marvin Mims. Yes over Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims is now the third option. Though Marvin Mims is going to give you a deep shot, right? That's the thing. Marvin Mims is still going to give you the deep shots, and yet they haven't been giving him the snaps. He hasn't been getting the routes that we wanted. It is the Bears. This is interesting. Gainwell is not going to get the same opportunity share as Swift. He's going to get a lesser opportunity share. Swift has earned the opportunities. It's a rational franchise in Philadelphia. They're going to be giving the ball to the guy that's been the most efficient. Swift is currently playing well. He's not pissing anybody off, unlike Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool comes in, right, gets targeted, produces, and then immediately pisses people off, and then he's deactivated. So this is interesting, by the way. The Chase Claypool deactivation is good for DJ Moore. It's good for Mooney, right? Because we got Surtain likely trying to match up with Moore. This is a good week for Mooney. If there was a week to play Mooney, it's this week. This is the week to play Mooney. And I think I like Mims. I like Mims with this question, right? Because it's like, do you want Justice Hill? Not really, right? Justice Hill, these players that are fringe players, when they get injured, like Gainwell in week 2 or Justice Hill in week 3, everything tilts against them. Right? Suddenly they're not part of the game plan. They're on the outside looking in. Then they try to come back, and they're just not given the same opportunity share. I'm going to wait and see what Justice Hill's role is going to be. I'm going to wait and see what Kenneth Gainwell's role is going to be. And I'm going to just bank on the Marvin Mims deep shot against the Bears. Like, if you were going to draft Marvin Mims, this would be the week to play him, right, against the Bears. So might as well go with Mims and see what happens. Elijah Moore or Godwin as a desperation. Chris Godwin's not a desperation play. Chris Godwin is a top 10 fantasy talent, Chris Godwin is actually a better skill match with what Baker Mayfield does. Baker Mayfield's better over the middle of the field than he is to the perimeter. So, and he's getting targets. He just hasn't been able to. Yak is very randomized. So Chris Godwin's been a big yak player his whole career. And some weeks the yak is there for you. Some weeks it's not. So just keep playing Godwin. He's going to get the yak. He's going to get the touchdowns. Keep playing him. Over Elijah Moore? Why are people wanting to? He's a Dorian Thompson-Robinson is a brand new guy we haven't seen yet. Why would you play Elijah Moore unless it's a complete desperation? Hey, thanks for the super chat, Slayton. That's cool. Pickens, Dell, or A-Chain? Ooh. Well, you're playing A-Chain, that's for sure. You're definitely playing A-Chain. After what he did last week. You're playing A-Chain, no question. And you're playing Pickens. Pickens is the alpha. There's no Deontay Johnson. So you're benching Dell. I know it sounds crazy to bench Tank Dell, but there's plenty of options there in that passing game. Vegas doesn't believe. See, this is the thing. I'm benching Dell in this particular situation. I'm going with A-Chain over Pickens and Pickens over Dell because last time I checked, the Steelers were favorites in this game. And it tells me that Vegas isn't sold yet on the Texans. It's a low total, 41.5. So the upside really isn't there. You're really hoping for the targets from Pickens and the touchdown upside. Tank Dell's 5'5". He's not going to give you big touchdown scoring upside. I know there's deep shots that are available to him, but that's the same probability as deep shots to Mooney, right? Deep shots to Marvin Mims. I'm just not as excited as the public point chasing with Tank Dell. Tank Dell this week is point chasing. Not doing it. Go with the number one. Go with Pickens. Go with A-Chain, who has the ridiculous, 100 yards on 10 carries and a touchdown. That's A-Chain. Roshan or Gainwell. It's all about Roshan this week. It's all about Roshan. The fact that now that they've been alerting the media, we're going to increase Roshan's role. Right. And this is the matchup. Look what the Dolphins just did to the Broncos. Of course you're playing Roshan this week. You're starting Roshan. Everybody who's about to ask a Roshan question, start Roshan. Start Roshan, start Roshan, start Roshan. DJ Moore or Mims? What? I think DJ Moore, right? This is the week. If you're not playing your Broncos and your Bears this week, then what's the point? What's the point? It's a 47-point total. It's one of the higher totals on the board, other than Dolphins, Bills, right? It's at Chicago. Okay, there's no Chase Claypool. This is DJ Moore time. If not DJ Moore, then who? Right? And then the guy's like, well, what about Roshan? Well, okay. If you have DJ Moore, I'm playing DJ Moore. But anything less than DJ Moore, I'm playing Roshan. DJ Moore, by the way, I found this out talking to Chris Vaccaro. DJ Moore was steamed up into the third round, sometimes early third round in these start three receiver leagues like NFFC. I couldn't believe it. It's unbelievable. I mean, great for DJ Moore, but I had no idea he was steamed up like that in those final weeks of the summer. I don't play at the NFFC, so I had no idea. It's crazy to me. I mean, it's great. I love DJ Moore. Didn't see that coming and wouldn't have drafted him there, given the risk of Justin Fields. Nor was I drafting Michael Pittman. Like Michael Pittman and DJ Moore, very similar situations in that you have these mobile quarterbacks that are unproven, and we'll see what happens, right? But these are the clear number ones on these teams that are going to be low pass volume offenses with these mobile, erratic quarterbacks. We'll see what happens. And Michael Pittman's been super consistent, giving you those 8 to 9 targets every single week. It turns out it's been Michael Pittman, helped by the fact that Minshew has been getting a lot of the dropbacks so far this year. Myers or Judy? Myers, you're not playing Myers because we don't know what Aiden O'Connell is. Why do you people want to take such huge risks? Just wait a week. See what Aiden O'Connell is. Wait a week and see what Dorian Thompson-Robinson is. If these guys are completely incompetent, I don't think Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be incompetent. I don't know about Aiden O'Connell. We'll see. That one I'm really worried about. So no. Claypool or Mims? Claypool's inactive. What kind of question is that? Am I wrong? Is Claypool not inactive? I thought Claypool was inactive. Someone correct me on this. I thought I saw that he was inactive. Is he not? Did I miss the? Did I get there? Because I went out of my way. I went completely out of my. I mean, way out of my way. I mean, way, way, way out of my way this week. I mean, way out of my way to look at the news. I was like, I'm going on the show. I need to check all the news. I can't be embarrassed, right? I can't let this get away from me, right? I can't go on not knowing the news and then everyone criticizing me because I've done that before. I've actually gone on a Starter Stream show without checking the news first. It's really embarrassing, and when you're just interacting with the chat, you can get completely and utterly blindsided. But I believe Claypool was inactive. Someone check that for me. I believe he's inactive. I don't know where the hell that question came from. I'm always worried when I get on these shows that I'm going to be the one who's the least news aware. And so the fact that there is someone in the chat asking Claypool versus Mims actually makes me feel very good because I'm pretty sure I know that Claypool's out, and I'm pretty sure I love Mims this week. Again, either there's no Tim Patrick, there's no Greg Dulcich, and the Broncos can't stop anybody. So what are you waiting for with Mims? Go ahead and play him. Yes, Jarek Mills. Yes, on Facebook. By the way, hello, Facebook. Yes, Jarek, I can confirm that you are playing A-Chain over Roshan because of just the screaming upside of one of the best offenses in the league and one of the best running games. The long touchdown upside is why you're doing it. But I get why you're kind of like, hey, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah. Also, it's still, I love Roshan, everybody. You guys know I love Roshan, but it's still fucking beat reporter or, news leaked to a guy from ESPN who's saying they may increase a guy's role. Let's see it first. Ravens or Chargers defense? Well, that's a good one, right? Because we got to look at the schedule here. We know that the Ravens are playing a backup quarterback in Dorian Thompson-Robinson. We also know that the Chargers don't have Bosa, right? So this is actually, if Bosa was playing, this would be easily Bosa. But the total on Ravens-Browns is actually 38.5. The total on Raiders-Chargers is 48. The Browns also don't have their starting running back. It's going to be a lot of O'Connell dumping it off to Jacobs. They at least still have, Devontae Adams. I'm going to go Ravens there. I'm going to go Ravens. I trust Dorian Thompson-Robinson more, but the Ravens are just more of a nightmare. And you look at the total, I think you got to go Ravens there for a defense. Starting the Ravens this week is a slam dunk. Pick 2 between 4 guys. Adam, fuck off. Honestly, fuck you with your pick 2 out of 4 guys, okay? It's not Justice Hill, okay? We got to see what his role's going to be. Just like you weren't starting Gainwell last week, right? You got to wait and see, right, what happens. Yes, Josh Palmer is the guy you're playing. Josh Palmer, and the question, this is a good question. Jacoby Myers versus Gainwell. And here, I'm just going to go Gainwell because I know that he's going to have a role. I know he's going to get his 10 touches, and we know that. I need to know what the hell Aiden O'Connell is before I'm starting the number 2 receiver. Because oftentimes when the Tom Savage comes in, the Tom Savage corollary, when he comes in, he's going to zero in on Hopkins, zero in on Adams. I'm worried that he's not going to spread the ball around like Jimmy Garoppolo did to Myers. So I got to see it. So I'm playing Palmer and Gainwell there. How do I feel about A-Chain this week? I love him. Of course I love A-Chain this week. He's building trust, and he's making huge plays, and it's an incredible running game. Robert Hunt. How I feel about A-Chain is I love Robert Hunt. That's what. Rondale Moore over Jalen Warren, Calvin Austin, Marvin Mims. No, Marvin Mims. You're playing Marvin Mims. I believe, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Marquise Brown is active. I believe Marquise Brown is active. You guys can all tell me if I'm wrong. I believe I saw he's active. I went through the news very carefully. right? And by the way, I'm not playing Gainwell because Rashad Penny's inactive. Like, I care about Rashad Penny being inactive. I don't care. I do not care. I don't know what the question was. What was the question? Oh, yeah. Rondale Moore, Jalen Warren, Calvin Austin, Marvin Mims. Marvin Mims this week. Marvin Mims. If not Marvin Mims, Calvin Austin. Calvin Austin has been the second most productive receiver on this team. This is interesting. He's very fast, big play ability. If you're gonna start one of these guys, these fringy receivers in your flex, you're just looking for a deep touchdown. You're looking for the 50-yard touchdown. That's Mims number 1, Calvin Austin number 2. Sutton over Debo. No. Why? Why would you go Sutton over Debo? Debo's active. I believe Debo, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Debo's active, and I don't know why anyone would be. You're starting Sutton because of the matchup, because it's the Bears. Sutton is not good. He's been productive and he's been solid, but this is a weird game. This is going to be potentially a weird game. I'm not benching a stud player like Debo. Debo gives you a lot of outs, right? So this is the theory of the case with Debo, right? You started Debo because a star like Debo, how can he win? He can win with a big yak touchdown, right? He can get you. He can take a carry for a touchdown in the red zone. That's another option. He can also just get a bunch of catches because, he's active and he's playing. Ian Rappaport reports Marquise Brown is expected to play against the 49ers. So the idea you're playing Rondale Moore against the 49ers is crazy. Okay, but you're playing Debo against the Cardinals, absolutely, and hope that the Cardinals can score some points. But yes, you're playing Debo. If you don't play Debo against the Cardinals, I mean, it's knee and ribs, right? I mean, it was a rib injury, right? He played, the whole game. He's banged up. You know what I mean? Debo was questionable with a human body. That's what he was. He was questionable with humanity. That's what he was coming into this week. I wouldn't worry about Debo. Jesus, you people. Honestly, Debo. Chasing the matchup with Sutton. It's not like it's a 53-point total, right? The Broncos-Bears is still just a 47-point total. It's not that big of a deal. Gainwell over JSN, and yes, until you see JSN play well, I'm worried about JSN. I already have Zay Flowers ahead of him in Dynasty easily. I need to see something from JSN before I start him at all. Gainwell is going to get his 10 opportunities. He is good. He is explosive. Gainwell can also, he's going to be healthier this week, and he does have big playability, even though he hasn't shown it yet. If Gainwell got the carries that Swift did, and Swift got the carries that Gainwell did last week, everything would be different. Because the opportunities just opened up. The field opened up for Swift, and it didn't. It's just bad luck, right? Any given play can be totally snuffed out by the defense. That just happens to be the situations that if you think that last week is indicative of Gainwell's talent versus Swift's talent, then you have no idea what you're talking about. You have no idea how football works. Gainwell is a big play guy. And Mims returns kicks. It's a great point. Someone said Mims returns kicks. Yes, these guys that like Calvin Austin, Mims, if they return kicks, that's another benefit. Roshan or Dotson? Are you kidding me? What has Jahan Dotson done? Jahan Dotson, I was complaining to Theo. I said, Theo, I love you, man, and you're so right so often, but, you with Dotson and you with Jahmyr Gibbs were the two places we didn't see eye to eye this offseason. I was like, I don't understand why anyone's drafting Dotson. Someone explain it to me. No one could, right? Someone explained to me Gibbs. I didn't understand it because they did bring in Montgomery. Didn't understand it. No one could explain it except draft capital. And when someone just said draft capital is the only thing, then I'm like, okay, well, that's all I need. I think I'll take it. I think with Gibbs, I went as far as recording myself coming out of a porta potty. I did. I recorded myself coming out of a porta potty saying, oh, that smells. That smells like Gibbs over ETN in the porta potty. That's what that was. Because what are you hoping for? Are you hoping for with Gibbs that he is ETN, right? But ETN has Bigsby. Gibbs has David Montgomery, and like somehow the Gibbs is going before ETN. Like that never made any sense. It was always one of the dumbest things. It was the dumbest thing. Okay, I'll say it, even though it wasn't, but I'll say it was the dumbest thing about the offseason. One of the dumbest things about the offseason was Gibbs over ETN. And everyone that was touting that, everyone that was advocating for that, I mean, go ahead and defend it. I also was advocating for Kirk over Ridley. And just to check in on this game that just wrapped up in London, Christian Kirk, 12 targets, Calvin Ridley, 2 targets, but he got bailed out with a touchdown. So you can only get bailed out with touchdowns so often. And I said, this is a critical week for Ridley because there's no Zay Jones. He better produce with no Zay Jones. And what happened? 20 targets for Kirk and Ingram, 2 for Ridley. Bam! 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 Kyle Pitts, 4 fantasy points. 4 fantasy points for Kyle Pitts. Just puke. Puke. So everybody, by the way, everyone that's like, hey, you're going to put Laporta at tight end 1? Not yet. I want to. Trust me. You have to understand. My initial instincts are, yes. In Dynasty, Laporta, tight end 1. Yeah, sure. Dynasty, Laporta, tight end. Yes, I want to do that. My instincts are youth and fun and excitement. Are we going to actually do that? Fuck no, not yet. It's not that far away because Hawkinson's been great, but it's taken him a long time to get there. Andrews is great, but he's getting older. Kelsey now mid-30s. Taylor Swift distraction. It's actually a lot easier than you might think for Laporta to get to tight end 1 in Dynasty. It's just a thing. It's not yet, but it's a thing that could happen soon. Preparing you for that. Are there more questions? I think there are more questions. Oh, man, there's so many questions. Godwin or Zay Flowers? Zay Flowers, bro. No Bateman. What are we doing? It's all Flowers. What is he going to? He's competing with Nelson Aguilar? Flowers to the moon. I love Godwin, but Flowers to the moon. Cooper or Ford in PPR? Oh, God. New quarterback for Cooper. I go Ford just because there's quarterback risk. Elijah Moore or Jalen Warren? That's a good question. I'm going to go Elijah Moore just because Jalen Warren's not the starter. If Jalen Warren were the starter, I would go Jalen Warren. Or he was, more of an even split. But I do like Dorian Thompson-Robinson enough to go over Warren, but that's the line. I mean, there were questions earlier where it was like Elijah Moore or Sky Moore. It's like, what? Thoughts on O'Connell against the Chargers? What? You're not starting him. Roshan or Pacheco in PPR? Ooh, it's still the Chiefs. So I'm still going Pacheco for now. Again, I know you guys want to be heroes and you want to start the new guy that's getting the hype from Jeremy Fowler from ESPN. Easy does it. Just play Pacheco one more week. Justice Hill or Roshan? Of course, Roshan. Myers or Judy? Of course, Judy. What do you mean, Myers? There's a new quarterback. The fact that that's even a question. Myers with O'Connell versus Judy is a question as of week 4. That's music to my ears because I've never liked Jerry Judy. Kyle Pitts is finished. Thank you. Rashad White over everybody. Yes. Rashad White over A-Chain. Yes. Rashad White's the full-blown bell cow. He's going to have weeks. Don't worry. There's plenty of upside. He has the explosiveness to give you the long touchdowns just like A-Chain, but he's going to get more opportunities. And, wow, there's been a lot of questions. I'm not going to get to them all. Eckler, I believe, is doubtful. Is he playing? Is this new? Is Eckler playing? Oh, is this new? That's great to hear if he's playing. I would love that. I hope so. Let me know. Everyone let me know. Is Eckler playing? I heard he was doubtful. If he's not doubtful, I would love to know. I don't think I'm playing him. So, yeah. It's weird. Yes, doubtful. A-Chain or Miles Sanders? It's A-Chain. Rashad White, Javonte Williams, A-Chain. Rashad White, people. Come on. Garrett Wilson over Judy? Ooh, that's a good question. That is a good question. Here's the thing. Garrett Wilson's safer because he can get there with Yak. He can get there all kinds of different ways, and they could bench Zach Wilson at halftime and go to Trevor Siemian, which would be great. If Trevor Siemian's active, that one I don't know. I know a lot of the inactives. I don't know if Trevor Siemian's going to be active or not. By the way, Ramondre Stevenson. A lot of people have been asking me, you're going to take the L on Ramondre Stevenson. You didn't like him. And I'm like, well, he's not explosive, but he's a really good pass catcher. And big pass catchers, as it turns out, he didn't catch a lot of passes in college, but if you're going to catch a lot of passes in the NFL and you have size, then you're valuable. But somehow, some way, Elliott's been outproducing him because Stevenson has never been explosive, and that's always been the problem I've had with him, is you have to put your expectations in check with Stevenson because he's not an explosive runner. So he's a volume-driven guy, right? And when he's getting all the touches, it's one thing. When they bring in Elliott, it's another thing, right? That's why I was shocked that his ADP stayed in the third round when they brought in Elliott. I was surprised by that, and I was out on him. I was in on him before, out on him once they brought in Elliott, because any threat to opportunities for a guy like Stevenson, it's a warning sign. Cooper or Nico? Cooper, man, you guys got to let the Texans percolate. Let Vegas get in on the Texans before you get in on the Texans. That's what I would say with the Tank Dell questions and the Nico questions. Also, Mechie's getting more snaps, more routes. Look out. Knox over Njoku, yes. I mean, I hate that they're not feeding Njoku, but Njoku's got a new quarterback and he has the burn. He's a burn victim, so you just gotta go Knox there for now. I hate it, right? I hate it, but that's what it is. Roshan over Josh Kelly, of course. Josh Kelly, oh man. See that? I was gonna say of course, but Josh Kelly it's a great matchup. You know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to let my last week and in my distaste with Josh Kelly's lack of explosiveness, I'm not going to let that get in the way of the fact that it's a home game against the Raiders. It's a 48-point total. They have a lot of implied points. Right, think about the implied points. It's like 26.5, 27 implied points, 27. I don't know. It's over 25 implied points for the San Diego Chargers. Joshua Kelly is the starter. He had a difficult week, right? He got walled off last week. I'm actually starting Joshua Kelly over Roshan Johnson. Fight me. You can fight me about that, but you're starting Joshua Kelly this week. You're starting him. Eckler's doubtful. You're starting him. I know Roshan, you saw me, right? I criticize other people like, hey, what about Roshan? I'm like, whoa, slow down, right? Yes, Roshan over a bunch of fringy guys, but not Roshan over guys that are the starter, get in the best possible situation or full-blown, established bell cows like Rashad White, right? That's the line, right? You're not going Roshan over DJ Moore, right? But you're going to play Joshua Kelly. So that's the thing. I would say if your question is Roshan, I would start Roshan against all other reasonable fringy-ish choices, except Joshua Kelly, because I don't consider Joshua Kelly fringy. I consider Joshua Kelly just a smash this week. Sounds crazy, but I'm smashing Joshua Kelly. Someone's asking Nico, Marvin Mims, Rashad White, Jerome Ford. Of course it's Rashad White. Of course. Jerome Ford also has a new quarterback. We don't know what that offense is going to look like. If you need a fill-in for Eckler, how about Joshua Kelly? How about that? Jonnu Smith had 95 yards today. That's a great point. Jonnu Smith is actually a guy I was stashing a lot in Dynasty because we know he's explosive. We know he has a great athletic profile. He's played well, and he's had good seasons with the Titans. and, it's just a little bit of a hedge against Pitts maybe not being good, or that we knew that the Falcons want to play a lot of two tight end sets, want to run the ball. They don't have a third receiver of consequence. The thesis behind stashing Jonnu Smith as a truther in deep dynasty leagues actually made a lot of sense. So congratulations to everybody, including me, who did that. Hopkins or Sky Moore. Okay, that's where I draw the line. Traylon Burks is out. You got to go Hopkins there. Of course, we're taking questions from Twitch. Ask a question. Flowers or Puka? It's Flowers. Flowers is the GOAT. Flowers. Jahan Dotson, no. Mims over Dotson, 100%. Waddle over James Cook, of course. Waddle's active. You got to play Waddle. Waddle has 40-point upside. Look at the game log from last year. Javonte Williams, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, Rashad White. The answer is Rashad White. The answer is Roshan. The answer is Joshua Kelly. Just to give everybody Moore, Ford, or White. What? It's Rashad White. Scary Terry. Yeah, someone's asking Scary Terry, Marvin Mims. It's absolutely Terry McLaurin. He's still the number one there. Mimosa Bloody Mary. I love a Bloody Mary. Even Virgin Bloody Marys I like. Tabasco, lemon, crack pepper. Oh my God, so good. Waller or Mims. Oh boy. I'm gonna go Waller there and hate myself. Kyron Williams or James Cook. That's a good one. But that's a really good one. Kyron Williams is a better receiver. James Cook is a theoretically better receiver. Kyron Williams is an actual better receiver. So for that reason, against the Colts, they play that shell. There's going to be a lot of dump-offs to Kyron Williams. Kind of like Kyron Williams this week. I really do. I like Kyron Williams. And James Cook, he's gonna have one of those weeks. He's gonna have an explosive week. But the Dolphins, that's not the week. This is not the week for James Cook. I don't love it for James Cook this week against the Dolphins. I think this is a Stephon Diggs week. This is a Gabe Davis week. This is a Knox week. Maybe even see some Kincaid this week. Miles Sanders over A-Chain? No, A-Chain, baby. Bloody Mary all day. Rashad White, yes, Rashad White over Ford. Thank you, God. Javonte Williams, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, Roshan. Everyone has that question. It's Rashad White, man. It's Rashad White. Come on, man. My other RB is A-Chain. Yes. Rashad White, A-Chain is an amazing duo to start this week. Why is everyone doubting Rashad White? Is there something with the matchup I'm not seeing? What am I missing? The Saints? Because it's a road game? You think that's the problem? That's fine. It's fine for Rashad White. It's fine. I know Billy Muzio doesn't like Joshua Kelly, but it doesn't matter who it is, right? I don't love Alexander Madison. I don't love David Montgomery. And because these are players that run 4.6s. You all know that explosiveness is something that I love. And if you don't have it, then it really does make it so that I have to sort of come up with a situational based argument, which is what I have with David Montgomery this year. Hello, easy, right? David Montgomery over Gibbs. I mean, Travis Etienne over Gibbs. Kenneth Walker over Gibbs. So easy. Didn't make sense. So and why? Maybe it's time to buy low on Alexander Madison before last week, because the situation dictates it. Situation dictates you play Joshua Kelly. That's it. I hate it, but it's football. It's fantasy football. Situation matters. Addison or Flowers? It's Flowers. Hollywood Brown over Elijah Moore. Yes, Hollywood Brown's the number one. They're going to be in comeback mode. Mike Evans over Jerome Ford. Absolutely. Jerome Ford has a couple weeks as a starter. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, what the mix looks like between Ford and Kareem Hunt once he's fully online, fully up and running, fully acclimated. Same with Pierre Strong. Pierre Strong is getting acclimated as well. He came over from the Patriots late in the season. Yes, Roshan over Jalen Warren, of course. Tutu Atwell or Mims, that's an interesting one, but Tutu's getting the snaps. He's similar to Mims, but he's getting the snaps. He's getting the targets, so it's got to be Tutu. Ayuk or A-Chain? Ooh, there's a good question. I like that question. That's a good question. And I know you're thinking, oh, Ayuk, because it's the Cardinals. No, it's A-Chain. You want A-Chain this week. I know it's the Bills, but the upside is enormous. The upside on Ayuk isn't great, right? Debo's playing. They have Kittle. They have McCaffrey. It's going to be one of those games against the Cardinals. It's not going to be... That's the type of guy where I would have played Ayuk 5 years ago. I'm like, oh, Cardinals, great matchup. It's not a great matchup for the passing game. It's a great matchup for McCaffrey. It's an awesome matchup for McCaffrey. It's not the best matchup for Ayuk. I like it for the number one receiver, especially the number one receiver who does a lot of yak. I like it for Debo. I like it for McCaffrey. Don't love it. Don't love the matchup for Ayuk. Don't love the matchup for Kittle. You know, you want a few more pass attempts. Yep. Stop doubting Rashad White. God, you people. It's crazy. Debo or Higgins? Oh, Debo. Higgins. Fake alpha. Gross. Though Herb Smith is out. So that helps Higgins. But I want to see Higgins actually play well before I start him. How about that? Someone traded Devon A-Chain for Sam Laporta in Dynasty, and I love it. I love it. Because Sam Laporta is more of a long-term asset for sure. Pickens or Evans? Ooh, Pickens or Evans. I like that. I'm going to have to go to the rankings. Go to the rankings, playerprofiler.com. Check out our rankings. They're sick. I'm actually going to go to the rankings here, and we're going to find out whether I would go Evans or whether I would go... That's a good one. Pickens or Evans. I would have to go to the rankings on that one because it's so close. It's such a hard one. My guess is Evans, but I'm willing to be surprised. I'm willing to be and it is. Oh no. We'll share the screen right now. Look at this. Look, this is good. I knew it would be close. I knew it would be close. Let's check it out here. Look how close it is. Look at that. We've got Godwin, then Pickens, then Lockett, then Moore, then Atwell, then Evans. So you can see why I was going Atwell. Evans, our wide receiver 30, because it's New Orleans. They don't give up a lot of fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. It's going to be a tough matchup for him. It's interesting, right? He's only projected for 12.5 points this week. Pickens, he's the number one. It is Houston. They're not actually giving up a lot of fantasy points to opposing wide receivers either, but he's more of an established number one, whereas it's Evans and Godwin more, a 1A, 1B situation. So that's the difference. It's a 1A. It's a clear 1 versus a 1A, 1B. That's why. Podfather is the GOAT, but Rashad White is not good. That's just not correct. That's not correct. James Cook or Devon A-Chain. Okay, that's where you go Cook, right? Cook is basically got that A-Chain level explosiveness. He's at home. You're going Cook over A-Chain. But that's actually pretty close. That's pretty close because I love the upside of A-Chain. I love the explosiveness. I love this offense. This is going to be fun. It's consolidated, right? They just have the two receivers and the two running backs where they're spreading it a little bit more around in Buffalo, but still Cook is the primary back. It's not even a question, right? He's the clear primary back. Just wish that Cook caught more passes. Do I start your mom or my dad? What? It's weird. Garrett Wilson, Chark, or Rondale Moore? Ooh, that's a good one. We're still going Garrett Wilson, guys. We're going Garrett Wilson because of the possibility that Simeon gets in the game or they bench anybody. Like even if it's a Tim Boyle, it doesn't matter. Don't forget about the possibility of them benching because if if Wilson's not getting any targets in the first half, they're going to bench Zach Wilson anyway, right? So just remember that. It's a factor to keep in the back of your mind there. Ford or Roshan, ooh, that's a good one. I still go Ford because he's the clear starter, even though now there's all this quarterback uncertainty. Still Ford over Roshan for now. But just wait. It's going to be exciting. Jacoby Myers or Elijah Moore, that's tough. That's the best question. We're going to end on that. That's the best question. Because 2 new quarterbacks, total unknowns. In that particular situation, I'm actually going to lean Jacoby Myers because Jacoby Myers has been hogging the targets more. They don't have the same level of tight end talent in Las Vegas. And so that's the tiebreaker. And also it's the Ravens, and the game total is super low. So I'm going to chase the game total. There's 10 more points implied. That is, or around 9 points implied more in that game. The game total is 9 points higher for Chargers Raiders than it is Ravens Browns. So chase the upside of the points that are implied for the Raiders versus the Browns, and then also the target share for Jacoby Myers has been outstanding this year. And we're way over time. I told myself I'd do half an hour. I gave you 50 minutes or 45 at the very least. Okay, I'll do one more. Everyone says watch out for Jordan Mason. That's true. Pick him up. Go get Jordan Mason. That's 100% a good idea. If you have to start 2, I would start Pittman and Moss over Ayuk for the reasons I talked about earlier, because I don't love this matchup for Ayuk. I don't love the fact that they're not going to be needing to score a lot of points in the second half. I think they're going to take the air out of the football in the second half. I don't love that for Ayuk. And there's a sit one of Judy, Palmer, or A-Chain. I would sit Judy. The upside of Judy in any given week just isn't great. The Broncos offense is incompetent. A-Chain has boom upside. Palmer, actually, you can see with our rankings where we have Palmer. I mean, we have Palmer as a top 30 option this week. Pittman as a top 30 option this week. I have to keep scrolling to find Judy. Get the hell out of here with Jerry Judy.